What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Godzilla x Kong, or Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. This latest installment in the MonsterVerse puts mighty Kong and fearsome Godzilla against a colossal deadly threat hidden within our world, which threatens the existence of their species and our very own. Not since 2007's AVPR, Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, have we been blessed with a sequel, a follow-up to a Versus event. It has been 10 years since we kicked off this connected MonsterVerse with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, and we already knew what Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures were cooking once they brought both titans in under the same studio roof. I cannot tell you how everyone in my auditorium lost their minds when the Blue Lizard's familiar roar echoed at the end of Kong Skull Island. With the pandemic and the streaming wars, it suppressed a lot of the marketing for Godzilla vs. Kong back in 2021, but with a lot of restraint and critical reviews, a lot of the fans still showed up. Now in 2024, it was amazing to be in a packed theater where I can feel the energy of the crowd just cheering on for these two icons. Before the trailers even dropped, I was hearing speculation that this was going to be a reimagining of Son of Kong, and then also that Godzilla, and I am a fan of Godzilla, you can see the t-shirt that I'm wearing, but I heard it was going to have lesser screen time than the last movie, and that really brought my expectations to an all-time low, especially since I haven't come down from my high of Godzilla -1. Finally getting to check this out, this installment was kaiju-charged mayhem and explosively fun. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is not a perfect movie. This is nowhere near the Toho blockbuster that took home an Academy Award, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't look past its flaws or I wasn't entertained by it from start to finish. I'm sure when Michael Bay looked at the first draft of Transformers, he was thinking to himself of how childish and goofy this IP was going to be, bringing it to live action. And with co-writer and director Adam Wingard, you can tell that he has the heart of a child stowed away inside of him because he knows exactly how to appease to the fans who came for a roller coaster ride. First off, the criticisms that they took away from the previous MonsterVerse films were more kaiju screen time and less human interaction. Well, this time around we have Kong doing his own thing in Hollow Earth, we got Godzilla doing his own thing above the surface, and there's even kaiju interactions where there would be no subtext provided for the audience, but those guys would just emote in order to communicate. This leads into the introduction of Zuko. No, not Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I'm talking about the adolescent member of Kong's species, which blossoms into a bitter relationship, friendship, however you want to call it. But I mean, this is all after the initial encounter where he's a little bit of a shithead. The humans take a backseat in this narrative, but somehow the script manages to still give them a job to do, which are becoming exposition machines. Exposition machines. Exposition machines. My God, why did I write that? That is so tough to say. They're like the sports spectators who are on the sideline with mics, just commentating everything that our Titans are doing at the exact moment. Stuff like, Godzilla is preparing for something, or Kong can't stop this on his own. Shit like that. The one human element that I actually appreciated was the relationship between Eileen and Gia, played by Rebecca Hall and Kaylee Hoddle. Amongst the rest of the cast, they had more of the spotlight compared to the last movie, and I thought it was rather poignant for them to explore the obstacles in their relationship, as well as Gia wanting to embrace her Iwi culture, and in a way it was kind of parallel to the relationship that Kong and Zuko were having. Brian Tyree Henry is back as Bernie, and just like the last movie, he is quick with the quips and just priceless with all of his reactions. This time around, he is back for the ride, trying to document everything because no one believed that he was involved with saving the world. But there's something about overstimulated Bernie that was just very cartoony, which is a good thing, but also insufferable. Adding on another himbo, I mean masculine man, I mean comic relief to the adventure, is Dan Stevens. He's a kaiju veterinarian who has a little charm and wit to him, as well as a history with Eileen. He has his natural timing for humor, but sometimes, almost every line that came out of his mouth was just the dumbest shit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the presence of Henry and Stevens, but anything of attempted dialogue that came from these guys was just absolute nonsense. As a sequel, they really injected a lot of kaiju action, brawls, and destruction. Every takedown, my entire auditorium was just cheering with excitement. But on that note, although this is supposed to be a collaboration, supposed to be a team up, this is still Kong's movie. A lot of the narrative unfolds before him, and we get to see him take a much bigger hero's journey than he has before. The Optimus Prime slash Iron Man looking arm mechanical thing was a nice touch, but if I'm going to be honest, it felt kind of tacked on to tease a possible crossover with Pacific Rim, maybe. Godzilla, on the other hand, if I'm going to be honest, he was a bit of an afterthought. I mean, he doesn't become significant to the plot, nor does he serve any purpose to be there up until the end of the second act. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is present from start to finish. I mean, he is starting fights and laying waste to anything and anyone in his path. I also thought it was interesting the way that Godzilla got his pink spikes. When Godzilla and Kong finally come face to face once again, it is an inner child's epic dream come true. Some of the WWE moves that they pull against each other and alongside each other was just so over the top and ridiculous to watch. I loved every second of it. Last but not least, Scar King. He's the complete opposite of our heroic primate. Where Kong represents the best of mankind, Scar King represents the worst. And I love the creature design that they gave this chimpanzee, along with the distinct features of red fur, blue eyes, scars on his face, and the way he walks. His historical feud to destroy and enslave the world is nothing original. It does take a while for him to make an initial appearance as well as become a vital threat in the story, although I do love the fight scenes he dishes out with Kong and Godzilla, as well as utilizing a few tricks up his sleeve, like the Bone Whip and his dominion over a powerful titan. And just like every third act to every kaiju movie, there is just a lot of death and destruction of bystanders and ruins of the city that Monarch is just not answering the call to. It's already too late. But yeah, that shit was relentless. Overall, this was a robust CGI feast that highlights the later half of the Showa era, where the spectacle is glorious and the entertainment value outweighs the suspension of belief. They gotta work on dialing back the human element to no human characters at all. If the studio is afraid that that's not gonna be successful enough, I mean, take a look at National Geographic nature documentaries or even Minions. It's a tightly paced blockbuster under 2 hours, and I implore you to check this out on the biggest screen possible. And for the most part, in my opinion, I think that the new Empire is pretty neck to neck with Godzilla vs. Kong. It's just my opinion, but that's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out on the biggest screen possible. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren, and I want to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you guys at the theater. Look at the